Hey, I'm up in Hattesburg, Mississippi today with a real legend in radio and really television, but mostly radio throughout the Deep South. Alabama, Florida, Mississippi, had some interest in Louisiana. Charlie Holt's his name. He lives in Hattesburg, has a number of radio stations here. I'm honored to be a part of the Common Sense Jim Brown program. Charlie's taken my shows on several of the stations in both Macomb, Mississippi, as well as Hattesburg. Charlie, good to see you today. Glad we had a chance to talk.
Thank you very much for coming up. We had an enjoyable lunch. I really enjoyed visiting with you, and you've had a fabulous career, and I remember you all through these years.
Well,
first time I ever met you. I can't believe that.
Charlie, mine has not been any more illustrious than you have. I don't think there's been a governor in the last 15 years who's not called on you as his confidant. Senators going back to Jim Eastland, going back to so many of the great legends in Mississippi politics particularly, that you've been involved. Politics is kind of your passion, is it?
I love politics because I believe in good government. And I've had an experience of being with some fine people. My favorite, of course, was Governor Paul Johnson. I worked with him back in 1964
right.
to 1968.
And I can tell you about Governor Johnson. Some of our older viewers may not remember Paul Johnson, but he had a very tough job because this was right during the height of the Civil Rights crisis.
It really was.
And the hotbed of the Ku Klux Klan was here at Hattesburg, Macomb, over in my home of Faraday.
That's
so
right.
he was trying to balance out all these interests along with our governor of Louisiana, John McKithen, during a very difficult time in our nation's history. And so I'm a big admirer of Paul Johnson.
Well, he did his best. And they used to call him Silent Paul because he didn't really like to talk a lot. But if you could just sit him down in a conversation, he was a very brilliant person. They tell the story that his father was governor back in the early 40s, and he was a congressman prior to that. And they'd go to New Orleans, and his father would visit some people there in New Orleans. Paul would go into a little bookstore and lie there on the floor and read books for 3 or 4 hours while his father was taking care of business.
And you know, we've got people watching my website and listening to us in other parts of the country, but you know, sometimes people kind of look down on Mississippi. They're rednecks down that way, as well as my home in Louisiana. When you talk about Paul Johnson, William Winter, the unbelievable history of literature at Ole Miss from
right.
William Faulkner on up. Mississippi really, although it has its negatives, just like we do in Louisiana, there are certainly some wonderful positives in the state, isn't there?
Well, one of the problems is it's an agribusiness state, and it's a poor state, but it's growing rapidly. As a matter of fact, we're getting 3 new plants in Mississippi here very shortly, which is going to produce artificial type fuel. It's going to be very important, I think, to the way we live in America.
When you look at the Toyota plant and the Mercedes presence and so many national companies that have come here, you and I were talking earlier about the Mississippi Gulf Coast, how Gulfport and some of the ports down there stole a great deal of the business out of Louisiana.
That's right.
Because of their aggressiveness.
And out of Alabama.
And you know, you can say that for Haley Barbour. A lot of people view on him as an insider, but one of the complaints over in my state of Louisiana is whenever these catastrophes come, like Katrina, now this Gulf oil spill, Mississippi seems to come way out ahead over Louisiana, but there seems to be a lot of screaming and hollering in Louisiana where people like Haley Barbour just quietly work behind the scenes, don't criticize. He who has the gold makes the rules, and the feds have the goals. So,
right.
And he seems to do very well up that way.
Well, Governor Barbour is a brilliant man, and he's a quiet fella, but he's very intellectual, and he's very down to earth. And he's got a great family. They've got a great tradition. He's an unusual person. However, as you have done before, if you sit down and talk to him, he's real good man to man.
Now, Charlie, I'm much older than you. I'm 70 years old, and so do you think you'll be in radio for 15 years from now? Can I come back and interview you again? What do you think?
Well, I'm 89, and I'm shooting for 100.
Well, you're looking wonderful. You don't look anywhere close to that. I'm really honored to have a chance to talk to you. You can hear me in Hattesburg and in Macomb, Mississippi. Go to our website. You can see the whole schedule. Really a pleasure to have Charlie Holt, one of the really grand figures in radio all of America, here with me today on our Common Sense Radio program. Thanks for watching us here today.
Thank you.